Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Viking Academy podcast. This week on the podcast, we have André Brisson. Now, André is the host of the Impulsive Thinker and the Impulsive Thinker program for ADHD entrepreneurs. Now, the reason why I wanted to have him back on the podcast, which I had him on before, the reason why I wanted to bring him back on is he has a really deep understanding and knowledge of personality profiles. And some of the personality profiles that we use in the strategic coach program that I'm involved in for the entrepreneurs is the Kolbe, the Clifton Strengths, the Print, and the Working Genius. Now, these profiles are for anybody. We happen to talk about it in terms of entrepreneurialism, but in this podcast, I wanted to share with you what these profiles do for you to understand who you are. This is all about the exploration into you. That's the purpose. That's the reason why I made the Viking Academy podcast, is so that you could pick up your sword and go and explore yourself and discover who you are and why you're here and what you're here to do. And the wonderful thing about these profiles is they walk through the why you do things, what you like to do, and how you like to do them. And when you take those three together and you play them on each other and have that understanding of how these profiles tell you more about who you are, you'll understand yourself that much greater. I had a bunch of aha moments during this podcast, as I normally do, and this one was no different than the other ones. There's a couple F-bombs, there's a couple jokes, there's a couple laughs, as always, because that's just the way we roll here at the Viking Academy. So if you're interested in personality profiles and figuring out a little bit more about yourself, which I'm sure you are, then this podcast is for you. So there you go. Let's go explore. André, welcome back to the podcast, man.
Welcome to be here. I'm happy to be here.
Happy to be here. Welcome to happy to be here. And this is like probably the most awkward
intro
that we've done.
But I'm okay with it.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you're okay with it. It's what's really funny here. So we had our first podcast back at the beginning of the 2025, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
It wasn't that long ago, actually.
No,
it wasn't that long ago. But what happened is that we talked about your ADHD, the impulsive thinker. We were in that realm. I really wanted on this podcast to dive into your understanding of personalities, okay? Because you've gone really deep, as always. Like when you're going to do something, when you really find something you're going to focus on, you go like
all in,
balls deep. You're full in, right? And so I'm curious, just to kind of set the stage, what have you trained yourself on when it comes to personalities? And then I want to dive into how you assess that when you're working with someone in terms of helping them understand who they are. Because I mean, ultimately, that's what we're
it's
after.
All about. Yeah, it's all about understanding your uniqueness is what I like about it. And it's not really personality, it's how you work and your natural talents and strengths. So it's not really your behavior. It affects your behavior, or its interpretation of how you work gets misinterpreted as behavior. But yeah, I like this because like one of my therapists told me, like for 15 years, I was working hard on myself, reading a lot of stuff. But at the time, it was to figure out what was wrong with me to correct, not actually understanding these were my talents and strengths, and I should be utilizing them. And then like Kathy Kolbe, who's created the Kolbe 8 Index, she's like, there's 3 parts in the mind. This is the model I really like from her. 3 parts of the mind. One is cognitive. That's what you learn and you know. And that's easily figured out by testing, your exams and stuff like that. Then you have the affective part of your mind, which is how you feel, what you love doing, and what you like to do. And then what she has created is the conative part of the mind, which is how you do things, the doing part of your mind. And with those 3 parts, we've had the cognitive for the testing, we have the affective, that's that's more your personality and your behavior. And Myers-Briggs, those are the personality tests. They don't really identify what you do well. And the cognitive part, understanding how you do it all the time, every time, and then it's your instinctive need to do this stuff is really cool. So what I like is we have a few assessments. I call them tests, but like the Kolbe Index measures your cognitive part of the mind, how you do things. There's the Clifton Strengths is basically it's part of your affective because it's what you will spend your mental energy on. So what you like doing and prefer to do. And then we have the Print, the why of you, which identifies why you will spend your mental energy. And that's more about your subconscious motivators. And then there's also another tool that I've been using is the Working Genius, where it's about identifying which 2 geniuses that you have out of the 6. It works well. And the thing is, all these things measure different things and they really work well together and they affect the nuances of that.
So as you were explaining this, I was just writing it down. So there's cognitive, which is our knowledge, affective, which is our feelings,
Yes.
and conative, Conative, I believe it's how it's spelled, conative.
Correct. Yep.
Which is the how we do things.
You're doing part of the mind. Yeah.
Yeah, how you do things, right?
Yeah.
I've gone through those the 4 that you just talked about, the Kolbe, the Clifton, the Print, and the Working Genius. I haven't gone deep into the Working Genius. And Kolbe has always been a harder one for me to kind of get my head wrapped around, but I'm getting better on it. The how part. I liken it to, here's my battery power. Like if I'm going to go do something, there's how much battery, how much juice I have to actually work on something. But let's go into, so you've gone super deep on this, because I mean, this is one of the things, like when we're ever in one of these breakout sessions or when we're in Strategic Coach together, because that's where you and I met. And we go and we have breakout sessions. We're talking with other entrepreneurs, and someone brings up anything to do with any of these personality profiles, I'm going to call. You just come in and go, oh no, it's this, and this. And I've always been just like, holy crap, Andre, like you really understand this stuff, like at a deep, deep level. And that's why I wanted to kind of drill down on this for you. Maybe just...
because the thing is, I understand, I can see the nuances work together, right? The how part of the brain working with the affective and the motivations are different. So it's really interesting to me how to be able to explain our natural talents and strengths are being derived, because it's all mental energy management is what I see this. So if you can be in the right lane as much as you can, you got infinite energy, or at least you're burning that energy more efficiently.
You know, I'm likening this where you just kind of framed that to following the energy. Like for me, it's like when talking about unique ability, and I truly believe that everybody was put on the planet for a reason, but we don't know what that reason is, and we're here to figure that out. I think that's part of the fun. I think that's the adventure of being human. We're the only species on the planet that doesn't know why we're here. And so you're following I call it the divining rod or the energy level. And it's like, oh, what is actually making me excited? I think that's the universe giving me a GPS or something that's telling me where to go and where to find these things. And that's why I love these personality tests or these profiles, is it's honing in more and more on what's uniquely you. And I love how you also put down that you've been working, like you said, you worked on yourself for 15 years to try and fix what you thought was wrong, as opposed to taking who you are and using what you've been given, right? And what you've learned and what you like to learn. And that's why you're here, right? That's the purpose of it, right?
And what I like about these, it validates the way you work, right? A lot of times most people, you don't work like the social norm or at the office or the company you're at or your family. And this just kind of validates you're on the right track. This is the right way for you to do it. Some people are very organized and structured. They need that. Well, for me, I don't like that. It really grates me to be overly systematic. I'm more adaptable. I like to be able to be a little bit loose, to be able to change paths when I can. And my ability is very handy in certain circumstances, while the other person's abilities are handy in other circumstances. So my way is not right for them, but it's right for me. And their way is right for them, but not for me. So we got all these talents that instead of working on our, like Dan Sullivan says, let's work by strengthening our strengths, not making stronger weaknesses, because the weaknesses are determined by others. So, and then as entrepreneurs, or even if you're working for someone, you should be having your weaknesses delegated out or someone else to help that, because that's what they do best and enjoy. And this is what I really like about it. These tools is that you get that clarity and understanding of how you must work. It's not even you should work, how you must work to be highly creative, effective, and useful in life.
And this is where having this knowledge of the self, like exploring the self, you being you, the small s, we'll call it the small s, leads to that deeper understanding. And the one thing that I've been finding is that the more I study, the more I look, the more I go into what I'm trying to figure out is my unique contribution to the world, like why I've been put, basically, I'm trying to figure out why the universe created me. I mean, that's my ultimate ethos, is to just, that's my biggest question. You know, I was listening to a podcast recently that I had just done with Dr. Jeffrey Gladden. And I actually love re-listening to all the podcasts myself, because I'm like, holy crap, there's a lot of stuff in here I didn't hear the first time when I was actually in doing the podcast. So I actually re-listened to my own podcast, because I'm like, the guests have so much great information. He had said that it's the question. Don't be attached to your answers, but be attached to your question. Like the question is the most important one, and having that, because then you're actually searching and looking for, constantly learning, as opposed to going, oh, this is the answer, I'm done, and I'm set in stone. It's the question. And for me, the big question is who the fuck am I? Right? Like really, that's the big question. I think that's a question that everybody really has deep down at their core. They're like, who the hell am I really?
So for you to get to a better understanding of who you are, I think this is what's really key with these tools is really cool, because we can understand the what, the why, and the how. Right? If you understand how you work, what you'll spend your money, your energy on, and why you'll spend your energy on, I think it gives you a clearer sense of who you are. A lot of us are like mired, we were supposed to show up to work 9 to 5, do all this structured stuff in a certain way, repetitive, right? And for a lot of us, that's not how we work. So we get lost about who we are, right? And the natural feeling or need to feel part of a community. And if you're in the wrong environment or the wrong community, you might say, I'll try to blend in and fit in by being someone who I'm not. And this really helps us explain the differences, not use them as excuses. I hate it when people say, because I'm a quick start, I don't have to do anything, right? Or, I got this strength from Clifton Strengths and therefore I can't do it. That's not true. It's an explanation why you prefer things or how you do things. And then you make it work with everyone. And it's self-awareness. You know that you do this, and how I behave and how I do things does not work with other people. Therefore, I have to be cognizant of that, either communicate effectively to them about the differences, or, find the middle ground, because my way is not the perfect way for every situation. Theirs may be.
Yeah. And it's kind of, had these conversations, especially when it comes to attracting our perfect or ideal client to work with. It's like, I'm not the right flavor for everybody. And I found that the more I become seated in the self, like in other words, I'm more comfortable in who I am, the more focused I get on who I'm here to actually serve, because the person I'm here to actually serve is the one that actually generates the most energy for me. And so I'm finding that the bandwidth's getting more and more narrow. It's like, oh, I'm out to change the world. No, not really. I'm just out to change the people that are looking to be changed and to have me help them with that change.
Right.
That's it. Right. And so let's go. So let's talk a little bit more, just for the readers or the listeners, so they can, listeners, the readers. There's nobody reading this. I hope that there's the
there's someone else here.
listeners.
I don't see
think
anyone.
so. There could be a bunch of AIs in the room. It's always listening, Andre. They're always listening, bastards. Let's talk about Kolbe as the. So we talked about, the why, the what, the how, which equals the who, which I think is a great kind of equation that you just brought out there. I like that. But let's talk about the how. So the conative, this Kolbe, let's talk about the 4 areas that gets measured, and then maybe I'll even give you my score, and then you can maybe just explain to everybody what it means.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I was kind of planning. So the Kolbe is how you do things. And this is if by knowing your 4 numbers, I know how to manage you, communicate to you, and I'll know how you will solve problems or projects every time. So the Kolbe has 4 action modes. The one is fact finder. That's how you share and gather information. Then they have the follow through, which is how you systematize and organize. You got the third one, which is quick start. This is how you handle risk and uncertainty. So it's not like the risk of skydiving, it's just anything unknown. And then 4 is the implementer, and this is how you handle tangible space. So every action mode has 3 sections. So they have the counteracting energy, strength, the accommodating strength or co-acting, and then the initiating strength. So every action mode has 3 zones of strengths. Yes, they're used in a number 1 to 10, but 1 doesn't mean you're better than a 10 and 10 is not better than 1. It just identifies what strength areas that you have. So like in Eric's case, his Kolbe A index is 6473. So he has a 6 fact finder. So he is more about an executive summary person. He is able to get the necessary details to move on to a project. And while for me, I'm an 8, I require a lot of specifics, a lot of details, and I have a longer energy, more energy. I need to spend more energy in that fact finder mode, while in Eric's case, his 6 requires less.
Yeah, my wife Erin is like the same way. Like she's a higher fact finder than I am, and we can sometimes have a little bit of friction because I'm like, I got enough info, let's move, and she's like, no, there's just more detail. I need more detail, and understanding that has really helped us.
Correct. Yeah, and that's why I say it's a great communication tool. So like my accountant, he's a 3 fact finder. He just needs the bottom lines. Give me 3 things and off I go. I don't need to know everything. And once I understood that, then I really tried to give him the main 3 things, but it's also difficult as me because now I got to decide which is the most important detail to share. Right. So Eric's 4 is for follow through, and he is good at maintaining systems. Okay. Every time he initiates a project, he will go look for a system that's already in place, and he will sort of kind of follow it. And if there's not one created or there's not one to follow, he'll kind of prepare one and create one to move forward. I'm a 2 follow through, and I actually look for alternative paths all the time. And if I hit a wall, I will jump to another project. I'll jump to something. And in the engineering world, that's very frustrating because it looks like I don't know where I'm going, but I'm able to go into a project that's not well organized and still tackle it because I can adjust as I go. While people with an initiating follow through, they're very systematized and they need to have these SOPs. If they got a list of 10 things to do, they will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all in that order, even if they know steps 1 and 4 are already taken care of. They must follow the system. Eric, little less. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, I don't need. 8, 9, 10's done. Me, I can go 1, 10, 7, 3, 2, 1. Like I'm adaptable that way. Okay. And it looks like I'm chaotic.
So just to kind of bring this back to the listener so they understand. So the first one, the fact finder, think about it for yourself. It's like, how much detail do you really need for like how you naturally collect and systematize and share data with people? The second one here, I almost call it it's almost the Rain Man, the Dustin Hoffman, Tom Cruise movie
Right.
with Rain
Yeah.
Man, where like he had to, like, I'm sure he would have been like a 10 follow through, probably because he has to have it follow every little step, all the
Yeah.
way, right? And so it's every little step and procedure. Okay. And so then that would be like the second scale. When I was
number.
thinking about these three levels, it's like you're either a low, a medium, or a high in that.
The different strengths. I wouldn't say low,
Yeah.
medium, high. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, intensity.
Sorry, that was
in
my
that
8
strength.
fact finder coming out. I apologize.
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to I'm trying to simplify this down, but okay. So we're talking fact finder and then how you follow through. Okay. And then the third one.
So just to it's a very valid question. So it means you have less energy or more energy in that action mode to spend. So with my 8 fact finder, I have more fact finding mental energy to use than I would in your case, Eric, with your 6. You're going to burn less mental energy on fact finding because let's go like this. Everyone has 100 ergs of energy, and with your Colby gives a certain percentage. So I got a higher percentage of fact finder. You actually have a higher percentage of quick start. So you have more energy, quick start energy to burn than I do. So that's the next one. So quick start is how you handle risk and uncertainty. So you're a 7. So you're really great at improvising. So when we first come to you with a project, the first thing you do is you come up with different ways to improvise, or you're really good to be making a speech on the spot without preparation.
Yeah, I'm very much like I can just
right.
And actually, here's one thing I wanted to also share with the listeners, that once understanding who you are and how you take action on things, the Colby results actually tells you what to do and what not to do. Like I have this little summary, and if anybody's watching the video, they'll see my eyes peering up against the wall because I'm looking at these all of them. I've got the print, the Clifton strengths, and the Colby up here. On the Colby, this is what it actually tells me how I deal with uncertainty and how I take action. It tells me race the clock, and it tells me to do things at the last minute. Like it actually tells me that's the best way for me to do things.
You work effectively. Urgency.
Yeah, urgency. So
it's more risk. It's riskier, and there's more uncertainty if you're working under pressure.
But it just naturally seems to happen that doing things at the last minute, that's when I get the best action. But can you imagine if I'm with someone who is who's the opposite side of the spectrum, where it's
they stabilize. They're stabilizers.
Yeah, but they're at the low level of quick start, and they see me doing things at the last minute. Can you imagine the anxiety it's going to give them?
Correct, because the ones that maintain, they try to maintain and organize chaos, right? On your end, you create the chaos with all the improvisation and the urgency last minute. But the people who are on the opposite end of the spectrum, they're the ones that are the fuddy-duddies. They're the ones that accuse they're sticking the butts. But in a company, you kind of need the people to make sure that they're going to reduce the risk. They're the ones that come up with plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, 12, right to D. See, what I like for you, Eric, you're okay with failing. Your best working way is to actually try, fail, and that could be with ideas or different stuff. And then all of a sudden, around 100, you win. You celebrate like that was the first time you did it. While the people who are maintainers and stabilizers, they're going to say, "I was told 100 times to go to hell on cold calls for one sale." That doesn't work because there's a lot of unknown and risk there. So they're the ones that come up with plan A, plan B, and what I like about this assessment tool is to be on a team, we need to have a balance of all these different strengths. So, we need the stabilizers to make sure that the ideas that we're going to implement are well covered and that we're not going to keep running into problems, which stems chaotic. While for you thrive on that. You like the different opportunities to come up with new solutions.
I like what you said there, that I create the chaos, and then someone at the other low end of the spectrum is trying to create some stability out of to a certain degree. You just explained the relationship between me and my wife because I just brought up Erin's Colby. So she's an 8, which is the same as you as a fact finder.
Mhm.
She's a 6 when it comes to
Follow through.
follow through. But quick start, she's the 2.
So you guys are polarized.
Yes, very much.
You're
So.
polarized.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that's the perception of you creating chaos from their point of view.
Right.
You're not creating chaos. You're
No.
creating new opportunities.
No, I'm creating fun, man. That's where the
Right.
fun is on the edge, is on the
Yeah.
cusp, is like, where are we at the cutting edge? Where's the newness? Where's the freshness? Let's go, right? That's where the
Yeah.
energy is. I don't see it as chaos. I see it as, I see it as fun.
No, but for the stabilizer, it looks like chaos. Oh, what's he going to come in today? What's he going to come up with now? Right? Because that means it's going to change their system. It's going to change their stability.
Oh yeah, Erin's gonna listen to this podcast. She's gonna be like, "Yep, Andre's got you nailed." Yeah.
And then the last one is implementer, is how you handle tangible space. So on the one end, the 1, 2, and 3s, they're conceptual. You can talk to them about anything and they can conceptualize it in their head, or they can conceptualize a solution. While the initiative implementers, they need they need models and hard stuff. They solve problems by using their hands. So I use this as the example as the mechanic. So the conceptual person can say, hey, we got a problem with the fuel filter because we're having these symptoms, and they could see in their head that they're tracing a diagram and it goes here, it makes sense here. If you talk to the implementer mechanic, he's going to go, or her, going to say, I have no idea what you're talking about. They will have to physically touch and follow and check. They will not be it has to be a concrete physical connection for them to solve the problem. And they're the ones that need it. And you can't have a conceptual conversation with them. They won't see it. And for them to see it, one way is to have more pictures, or you got to give them more time to understand sketches and that. So it has to be more concrete and real versus, so in this case, Eric's a 3, he's very conceptual, but he's touching the line of being able to repair and do things. So that just means you have less, in Eric's case, he has less mental energy to do hands-on work, physical work, maintaining the vehicle or whatnot, while someone else higher up on the implementer, and they're very quality, so they're very detailed for quality on the physical side. And they will actually move things around. They have to physically move things around, sit at a desk to see if they like it versus just look at dimensions from a diagram.
It was interesting. We had this conversation at the last workshop I was at, because I was taking the second module in year 1 and we had a presentation on the Colby, and we went through this, and that last column that you call it the implementer has always kind of confused me, because it's about physical space and tangibles.
Well, implementer, she meant from the actual term implements, tools.
Yes, I know, implements.
Yeah, but another is demonstrator is another best term to explain it. They're good at demonstrating.
Yeah. So here's the thing. And this is just example for one of these tests. So we kind of did a deep dive into the Colby. We found out that I carry chaos for my wife. We understand that, and she's trying to keep it stable. But this is the thing I wanted to share with everybody, is that once you understand how you do things, opens up your knowledge and understanding that other people, how they do things is them.
Yeah.
It's how they do it. If you can understand how somebody else does something, especially in an organization, in a business, if you can understand how they do things, it can remove not only a ton of friction between you all, but it can help you actually give tasks to one another that are best suited to you. And that's the thing for me, is this concept of a unique teamwork, unique ability teamwork, like having everybody doing what they're uniquely qualified to do. And when everybody's doing their unique ability, you have you'll have more fun and energy and excitement because you're doing what you love to do, how you love to do it, why you love to do it. And then everything fits together in a beautiful puzzle. Like if you had a unique ability frame, like a unique ability teamwork, that's the universe. Like if you look at nature, that's what it's doing all the time. The bees are doing what they do, the birds are doing what they do, the trees are doing what they do, and it all is working in harmony, and it's all making this beautiful picture known as nature.
Yeah.
Humans on the other hand, we get involved and we don't know what our unique ability is and how it fits into the big puzzle and the big picture. And that's why I think humans create so much bloody conflict and confusion and chaos, is because we don't understand, first of all, who we are. And second of all, we don't understand how other people are. And then thirdly, we don't understand how we can put them all together to make a really cool picture known like nature does.
Yeah. Yeah. And if people think that my way is the only way or is the best way.
Well, that's a given though.
Yeah. That's just human nature.
Yeah. 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 Well, when someone does something a different way, you're like, well, that's not right. That's not the right way to do it. No, it just happens to be not your way.
Yeah.
I think one of the big things that came out of this for me, especially when we did this with our accounting firm in Kelowna, is we started looking at we did the Colby, the Clifton, and the Print. We did all three tests and we started looking at it. And I realized this person there's a bigger ethos here. It's not personal. It's just their personality. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's not, the person's not doing something to piss me off. It's not to piss me off because I take it personally when they do things in a way that I don't want them. So I take it personally, but it's not personal. It's their personality. And once I understand that's how their personality. I don't like that word
personality for these tools, because this is how, why, and what they do. The personality is like like behavior. So like this is more about, me saying, whoa, let's slow down, Eric. Let's make sure we got plan A, plan B, and C. Yeah, you'll misinterpret that as a personality or behavior issue, but it's actually Mike Colby saying, let's slow down and check everything, stabilize things.
I think we're probably getting hung up on definitions here, but
yeah,
that's part of who you are, which is part of your personality. Do you follow where I'm going? Like, that's just part of your personality, is the way how you do things. It's just part of your personality.
Yeah, but personality is not how you do things. It's just how you behave and interact.
But isn't how someone behaves is part of who they are. It's part of who you are. Right? So how you do something is part of who the person is. And who the person is all of these things. It's like there's so many. I guess what it is there's
personality is more about the thought patterns, feelings, and behaviors rather than what you'll do. But anyways, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I think we're getting caught up on semantics. We're getting caught up in semantics.
I just don't want to be people think if you're a dickhead or an asshole, it's because of these. That's
no. If you're a dickhead or an asshole, it's because you're a dick or an asshole.
Yeah.
But that's also that's also part of your personality. It's part of the person. So you think what I mean? I'm just saying there's so many parts to a human being. Shall we put it that way? There's so many parts to a human being. There's all these pieces, and it seems to me to be almost an infinite playing field. Because as we go deeper into these understandings, and we just talked about this one personality or this one assessment, call it an assessment tool, one aspect of the person, right? One aspect of them. As I go deeper into each one of them, I start understanding the nuances even more so for myself and for others. Now, you're really good at seeing that nuance in others. Because I haven't gone so deep down into this, I'm curious to see what have you seen as patterns or common misconceptions of things that that the listener here could go, oh yeah, man, I should really pay attention to this when I'm interacting with another person?
About themselves or others?
Well, others. I think it's like
Okay.
they're both. I think it's both. It's always both, because once you understand
See,
more something about yourself, and then you can go,
right.
"Well, I wonder how that. I wonder how that. Here, I figured out what color the sky is in my world. I wonder what color the sky is in that person's world."
Oh, and that's exactly true. Like for me, I've always said I've been a student of human behavior since I was a child. Okay. And what that was I always ask why. Instead of judging or criticizing their behavior or their reaction, I always asked why. Why did they react that way? Why do I react? So if you're that curious side, if you say, okay, hey, they're trying to tell me I got to do steps 1 through 20, where I'm okay with 1, 18, and 20, why are they forcing that? Or why are they very passionate about that? Is it the way they work? So if you start asking the why versus I don't like that, therefore I'm going to put some sort of label or judgment, that's where I think that's where we lose it.
I think that's coming back to that comment that Dr. Gladden said, was the question: be more attached to your questions than your answers.
The
So
answer's
someone,
already defined.
well, it's also like, for example, someone does something like that, and human nature is instantly go, well, they're a dick. Okay.
Mhm.
And instead of going, well, they're a dick, going, why did they act dickish? You know what I mean? So I love your framing on that. It's like going, well, I wonder why they behave that way,
Yeah.
which I think takes it. I think what you're doing is also detaching yourself from the personal energy of the emotion that you're personally being attacked. You, Andre, are being personally attacked, and you're not going, I'm not being personally attacked. This person is just behaving in their way. I wonder why they behave that way.
Yeah. But you need to have an open mind to be looking for those as well. You have to be open that you might be misinterpreting people or you might be misinterpreting the situation.
Yeah.
Because like the other thing is I always ask without knowing. Like I know a lot of people say, oh, because you're a fact finder, you do this, this, this. Well, that's not a why. You just told me why I behaved the way. So you've already predetermined the answer, I guess, in a lack of a better way. If this is making sense.
Yeah, no, I'm picking up what you're saying. So it's like that person that asks you a question, and when they ask you the question, you can tell by the way they ask the question, they've already formulated their answer in their head, and
Yeah.
they're just trying to check or trick you into agreeing
Validating their
or
judgment.
validating their position. Therefore, yeah, and I think this is where the complete openness and honesty. I think it's openness and honesty. Um, which is another concept that I had a conversation with Grace Gavin on the podcast about no honesty, KNOW honesty. She was talking about being open and honest. It's that combination of being open to what you're saying, open to let's see what it is, right?
Mhm.
But the honesty, I think, comes into going, being really truly honest with yourself and saying, do you really know for certain what's going on? Because really, when it comes right down to it, I get to these conversations with people and I go, when it comes right down to it, none of us know what the fuck's going on here. And
Correct.
Earth, like this entire existence of life, none of us do. But we keep trying to think we know what's going on, or when we get when someone gets a little bit of a inkling of figuring it out, they go, "Oh, this is the answer." No, that they've
Yeah.
grabbed onto that. And then instantly now you have a fight with somebody else because you're all fighting over that one answer instead of everybody just agreeing, going, yeah, we have no idea why we're here, but let's all try and figure it out together. And I think that's the consciousness, that awakening that needs to happen in in the
Yeah.
human species for us to survive, to not go through another extinction event, is for us to finally agree with one another, or to be open and honest to say, we don't really know what's going on.
Mhm.
Let's just keep working together to figure out more of the pieces instead of saying this is the way. And I think that's what I really appreciate about you. What you just said there is that people are saying, oh, because you're a high fact finder, this is this. And you're like, no, there's so many other facets to it. So you're open to the fact that you don't know, but you're
Mhm.
curious to find out why, right? That's
Yeah.
that explorer curiosity that you have.
Yeah. And the other thing I like about Colby is Kathy Colby came up with a creative process, the Colby creative process, and it requires all three parts of the mind. And the first one is motivation. So if you're motivated to do something, you will use your cognitive strengths. But if you're not motivated, you're not going to use your Colby strengths to solve a problem. It's just not going to work. So we got our motivation. Do you know enough about it? Do you have the will to do it? What more do you know about it? And then we instigate our cognitive strengths to execute the project. And what I like about the motivation part is how do we get someone motivated to use their doing part of the brain effectively? And this is where I like the print, the why of you. So this actually identifies 2 subconscious motivators out of 9. Okay. And if your subconscious motivators are tickled and you work within it, then you demonstrate your best self. But if you're triggered in any way against these subconscious motivators, now you're in shadow self. And now what I like about this tool is this is the why part, why you do things. So I'm gonna list off the 9 quickly, and I'll talk about Eric's print. So print 1 is for things to be correct, perfect, and right. They strive for perfection. 2, print is to be needed and appreciated. So they orchestrate success of and through others. 3 is to succeed and achieve, driving to specific goals. 4 is to be special and find meaning in life. So they recognize uniqueness and create distinction. Print 5 is to be knowledgeable and smart. So they synthesize ideas and knowledge. A lot of people think that they're know-it-alls. 6 is to be safe and secure, anticipate, manage risk and rewards. And the 7 is to enjoy life and be happy. So they create and explore possibilities. 8 is to be strong and self-reliant. So make things happen. And 9 is to have peace and harmony. So they drive collective perspective and action. And these subconscious motivators, it's for you, but you also want to do that for others. Okay. It's a two-way street. It's really cool. So in Eric's case,
say that one again.
So the print is not only about you being your best shadow self or our best self or shadow self. You also want to help others be that as well.
Okay, that was a part that I was unaware of with the print.
Yeah.
That it's actually the way I want. It's the way I want others to be. Actually, that makes a lot more sense now.
Like for me, I'm a 1/8. So my 8 is to be strong and self-reliant. I make things happen, but I also need, if I'm triggered and people is not going to let me be strong and self-reliant, then I'm going to become aggressive and I'm going to become dominating. That's my shadow self. But if I'm my best self, then I'm very supportive and I get stuff done. But at the same time, that's how I coach. That's how I raise my kids, actually, is I want them to be strong and self-reliant.
Yeah.
Even if their print doesn't match that.
So this again, these 3 personality, or I know you don't like the personality.
That's fine. I'm over it now for now.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Okay. Get that fact finder down. Okay. So these 3 assessment tools is like the why you do things, the what you like to do, and how you like to do it. So we started with the how. This with the Colby. This is how you like to do things. Now we're shifting back up to why we want to do things under the print.
Yeah.
And so, but the thing that I was unaware of with the print is I understood it was like and that was the one I've been able to understand the most, because it was like, oh, now I understand why I act the way why I feel so passionate about certain things, or why I have negative reactions to certain things. It's because something inside me has been, and this, the trigger word trigger, which I hate that triggered. I really can't stand that word triggered, but it is true.
It's triggering.
Triggers. It's very triggering, man. I hate the fucking word. Anyways, yeah, don't trigger me with trigger.
Yeah, so your one print just went off. Everything has to be correct, true, and right.
Correct and right. Yeah, which is, so my understanding again with the numbers is like the number. There's a first number, and then there's a second number. The first number is your major. The second one is your minor. So For
Yeah.
example, I'm perfect, correct, and right. And number 3 is to succeed and achieve.
You're 1 and 3. Yep.
A 1,
Yeah.
3, right? The interesting thing for my wife, Erin, is that she is actually she's a 1 as well. So for things to be perfect, correct, and right. But her second number is to be safe and secure. And so the
Yes.
interesting thing is when you take her need to be safe and secure, perfect, correct, and right, and safe and secure, the minute I go and do my quick start and I'm okay with uncertainty and risk and I'm entrepreneurial and I go, go, go.
Yeah.
Well,
Your how is triggering her
my
6
my
print.
how is triggering her why,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So how I do things triggers her safe and secure in there, you know? And
But what's really,
interestingly, when we went through and did this personality profile with our accounting practice, there was a ton of safe and secure in there. Like,
it'll make sense if they're taking care of the clients and they're
well,
good with it.
well, but there need to be safe and secure. I think it falls back into because they did math and 1 + 1 = 2. I know that it'll be the same going forward. There's my safe and secure. Like, is there's a
That helps it.
numbers
Yeah.
piece?
Yeah. That makes it, yeah, but I'm pretty sure they got a lot of follow through too as accountants. So it's very systematic, which supports the safe and secure. Because you can have some of your talents kind of support it, amplify it,
Yeah.
or counter it, and
Well,
kind of keep things in tone.
I just had another
So
moment.
like your 7 quick start, if there's some injustice, your print will actually tone down your quick start. If you're in your best self. But your 3 print to need to succeed and achieve, your quick start can amplify that.
Okay.
Try different things.
Explain that again. Like you said that if justice hasn't been served,
Like your 1 print in a way, I kind of summarize it as if there's like for me, I never really did anything in business unless there was some sort of injustice, something that wasn't correct, perfect, or right.
yeah.
Engineering world. They're just so arrogant and there's only one way to do it. If not, you're a loser. So I really created my own company to fight that. Right.
That's just like me with the accountant success formula. I got sick and tired of the model that they had, and that's what fired me
Right.
up, right?
So if you're in a scenario like that, you're not going to randomly improvise to deal with an injustice if you're staying in shadow self, or sorry, in best self. So it'll tamper down you're probably going to start thinking more about your improvisation, your different ideas. But if you're in shadow self, your 1 can now amplify your quick start to just go randomly do a bunch of different things and different ideas.
I'll rip the Viking shield and the axe off the wall and I'll just go to battle.
Yeah. So, and that's where the nuances are. So like, if we want to now talk about the Clifton strengths, what you'll spend your energy on. And I like this definition. A strength is a natural talent or pattern of thought, feeling, and behavior that can be productively applied, a natural ability that comes effortlessly and becomes stronger with practice and refinement. And their definition of weakness is an over or underutilized strength. I've always said that your strengths can become your weaknesses, or anything that gets in the way of your success. That's a weakness. So they've identified 34 different themes. I'm not going to list them all 34. I'll just talk about Eric's 5. So what it does, it identifies your top 5 strengths in 4 different domains: how you execute, how you influence, how you build relationships, and how you do strategic thinking. So Eric, you are strategic. So you create alternative ways to proceed and spot relevant patterns. You're an achiever. So that will actually amplify your 3 print, your need to succeed and achieve as well. So achiever is a hard worker. They possess great stamina and they like being busy and productive. It's like an inner drive that doesn't make sense to other people. We just can't stop. Your third one is futuristic. So you're inspired by the future of what could be, and your visualization of that future is always a bigger and better and inspires others and yourself. You're a maximizer. That's your 4th one. So you focus on strengths and you figure out ways to stimulate personal and group excellence. So you want to transform something strong into something superb. You're not going to work on something that's weak to make it stronger. You're looking for ways to make something strong, stronger. And then you're a relator. I think we relate to ourselves because of the strength and our one print and me and some other stuff. But you as a relator, you got close relationships and your deep satisfaction working with friends to achieve the goals. And you're drawn to others that you already know are close and caring and trusting. So this is what you will spend your energy on. So you will, using your other talents, you're very good at strategic thinking. You're an achiever, the go, go, go. You see the future, a bigger and better future, and you're positive about it. Then you find things that, that's strong and make it stronger. And that's why you're very charismatic and you're very good with people because you can relate to them. You just don't get to know them. You relate. You always find a way to relate to them somehow to connect.
Yeah, very much so. I love how the simplified thinking around why you want to do the what, the how, like why you're doing something, or why you like certain things, what things you want to do, or no, why you're doing something, why you're doing stuff, what you're doing, and how you do it, right? This why, what, this how. And it really, what I did is I took it and I dropped it into ChatGPT as well. And I got it, like, started understanding it even better. And for the listeners out there, you can, once you get these kind of assessment tools, you can then play with AI to put them together to really to cross analyze. Basically, you get Andre in an AI, because Andre understands this so well. He understands all that nuances, but you can take and throw it together. And the crisscrossing of all the different why, the what, the how painted such a bigger picture for me to understand who the hell this Eric guy is, right? And what I want to do. What's really funny too is when I've gone through and done these ones, all of a sudden it's explaining things to me and I go, oh, well, that's why I did that. That makes total sense. Or that's why this gives me energy and this other thing doesn't. Well, that totally makes sense. So it's like this you're discovering who you are, but when you discover it, you're like, well, of course that's how I am because I already know who I am, but you don't know the why, why you're acting that way or behaving that way.
And that's the thing, the print is you don't understand the why unless you understand, like you got the numbers, because there's a lot of those behaviors appear the same, but the why of the behavior is completely different. So like, I thought my daughter, she was originally, I thought she was a 9 to have peace and harmony, but she turned out to be a 6 to be safe and secure. Because I thought she wanted peace and harmony because she wants to save the oceans and she wants to go marine biology to do all this. But actually it was her why is actually to make the ocean and animals safe and secure. That's her why, even though the behavior is representative of a harmony person. Okay, I'll go get this. This will throw you away. You know how kids, they don't get along when they're teenagers, right? So we had a scenario where we needed to ask my oldest to babysit the youngest because she was still having some separation anxiety about being alone because we wanted a date night. So my oldest is like, no, she's going to be mean. She's going to poke and prod and make it blah, blah, blah. And my wife was trying to explain to her, no, you need to, she's going to be fine. And then also I said, this was after half an hour. And I just stepped in and said, Zinnia, she requested you. She feels safe with you. So I don't think she's going to cause issues because she needs to feel safe. And she actually stood up from her bed. She was about to yell at me. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, okay.
That is one of the biggest ahas I'm taking away from this is that print, that underlying why is actually what I want for other people.
Right.
I want that for them.
So now this is what I like about this. This is how you can communicate and delegate and get people to do stuff. So for you, Eric, if I got a project that's going to take a day and is due in 4 weeks, I'm not going to tell you until the beginning of week 4, because I know you're going to do it the last minute because you're a quick start. Right?
Right.
Because you're going to lose track. whatever, you're going to put it off until you're going to get there to the urgency. Okay. But now at the same time, is if there's some sort of, I need you, so I'll go, hey, Eric, I need you to correct this. I need you to make sure this is right. I need you to understand, identify patterns, and I need you to make sure that the customers can relate to this and make sense. All right. But I need you to do these 5 things, and these are the goals for the project. Okay. Now, here's some information. Just give me an executive summary. Figure out how you're going to do it. And I just need a solution written down. That same project, I'm not going to communicate that to my team here. It's going to be different because right now what I did is I tickled your motivator. Something's not right.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to fix it. I set you a bunch of goals because that triggered off that activated your 3-print, you need to succeed, and your achiever strength. Me not giving it to you to the 3rd week activates your Colby. Me giving you some information or the information that you're going to disseminate on your own, that's more your Colby. But asking you to make sure it relates properly to our customers just activated your what again?
Yeah. Yeah. And the relator on the Clifton Straits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wild.
And this is how, and that's what I like about this. So when I start seeing people giving me resistance, then I really look at these tools, or I start to make guesstimates. I've been at this for 15 years. Like you said, I've deep dove, worked with Kathy Colby and a lot of these other people around it. Is you just try to find how they're going to relate to the request, right? My assistant, it's all about harmony. Everything has to be in peace and harmony. So she's making sure that she's helping my coaching clients feel safe. Actually, she is a 6'9", so safe and secure, but also there's harmony between everyone, that you got the right information. And the thing is, like, the other thing we should talk about the Colby is it's all about energy management. So we go in cycles through your MO. That's what they call your modus operandi. And you cycle it. So how you start the project, you'll do it a certain way, Eric. I'll do it a different way. But in the end, we're still going to get the same amount of information. It's just you're going to do more cycles through your MO than I would. Right?
Yeah, so you're using up the battery. You use up the battery power, and then you have to go recharge it, and then you come back.
Correct.
And battery power to recharge it. Yeah.
And this is where I start saying is energy doesn't dictate time. Time doesn't dictate energy. Energy dictates time. So if you want to look at it as the part of the mental energy, you'll be more efficient. If you can work within your why, how, and what effectively, then that energy burning is more efficient. So you're going to spend more time on it. You can't say I have X amount of minutes with my fact finder or my Clifton strengths, because if you're not going to use that energy properly, you're just a smoke puking, badly tuned diesel engine. You're just burning a lot of fuel and getting nowhere fast.
The thing that I envision in my head is, you're running a big business. You got all these different people. You've got all these different personalities. If you could clearly understand how each person operated on these 3 levels, the why, the what, and the how, and to be able to not only put them in the right spot so that they're feeling energized of dealing with their why.
That's what all this is. Yeah.
Right. And then when you go to give them any specific projects, you're able to articulate it in a way like you just did, which is customize it to that individual person's, I'm going to say it. I know you don't like it, but I'm going to say it. That person's personality. Okay. This is the personality. And so that they can then perform at their top, their optimal. And then this will perform their optimal. The interesting thing for me though, is when I can see it clearly. So I can see the application of it. It's fantastic. I love it. But my energy levels to actually go and understand each person and try and understand all these different personality profiles or the assessments, and then integrate it and understand it and do it. It sucks the living daylight's under me. Like I have this saying in our businesses, and I say, I do not manage people. I never manage people. I'm never a manager. Like I'll be in charge, but I'll never be in control. Right? Like I
Right.
never want to be a manager of people. Like I just can't be a manager of that. So is that like I need to find a who to manage and to help
Right.
this sort of situation, right?
Yeah. And making that statement is we can have an identical person with your MO, Colby MO, with your print and your Clifton strengths, but they'll be a great manager.
Okay,
It's
that I don't understand.
just because you're a certain MO, a certain print, and a certain Clifton strength doesn't mean you're stuck in one role. There's no perfect MO for a certain role. There's more success in it if you're allowed to be. Like, just because society doesn't allow you to do things the way you want to and be free to be yourself, then we got pigeonholed into certain things. But in the end, all these talents are really good for a manager. It's just you don't want to, or me and you, like we got the entrepreneurial trait of go, go, go and wanting to go forward that we're not good at managing people. And I think that could also fall under working genius. So this tool, the working genius, they got 6 different types of geniuses or talents. And 2 of them are identified so that's your working competencies. 2 of them are your working frustrations. You can do it, but it's very, very frustrating. And then 2 are your working geniuses. So your working genius, the 2 you should be working on, 2 of them are competencies and 2 are frustrations. So there's 6 of them. Wonder.
I'm I'm looking at mine right now and I'm laughing because yeah.
What are yours? I don't know yours.
No, okay. Well, so the frustration, the areas of working frustration are enablement and tenacity. And so it says
Yeah.
under enablement, you aren't naturally gifted at or don't derive energy and joy from providing others with assistance for projects or tasks.
Right. So what are your top 2?
Is invention and discernment.
Yeah.
As you're naturally gifted at and derive energy and joy from creating original and novel ideas and solutions.
Right. And discernment
Using my
is assessing
intuition.
merit, workability of this idea and solution. And discernment for me, I'm discernment wonder.
Uh-huh.
So our discernment's misunderstood as well. And it could be misunderstood as a counteracting quick start, trying to keep chaos. It's just we really go through and think it through. So discernment is about assessing the merit and the workability of the idea solution. And I'm a wonder. My second one's wonder. So I identify the need for improvement or change. So when I get someone says, here's a challenge or a problem or whatever, I go discernment first, then I wonder. So I assess the merit and the workability and identify the need for improvement or change. That's just my natural working genius. And my bottom 2 is galvanizing and enablement. Galvanizing is generating enthusiasm and action around an idea or solution. You can tell by my tone, that's really not one of my competencies. And enablement is initiating support and assist in the implementation of the idea or solution. I'm not that. Let's get the solution, discerning. I wonder what the solution is. It's solved. I don't want to stick around and figure it out how it works. I'm on to the next.
Yeah. Yeah, this working genius is have you gone deep down into this one? Like when did you start
Not
going
much. I've
into
had a lot of
this?
conversations. That's my next deep dive. But what I like about it is very great for teams.
Yeah.
So that's why your Colby, your print, your Clifton strength is great tools and talents for a manager. But your working genius saying you're not really wired for that. Like me, I'm not my galvanizing enablement is my frustrations. I can work in a team, but I'm best alone, but I'm not going to do a rah, rah, rah if we're not doing our job. So that's why I'm not a manager. It's a lot to do with my working genius.
This is funny. I'm reading this working frustration again, and this makes way more sense now because I couldn't understand how those 3 other assessments, someone else could have those same 3 assessments and actually be a great manager, and I'm not. This makes sense now because there's even another layer to the why, what, and how. Under working frustration for me, it says, first of all, it was enable. It says, I'm not naturally gifted at or derive energy and joy from providing others with encouragement or assistance for projects and tasks. And then the tenacity says, I'm not gifted and don't derive energy and joy from pushing projects and tasks through to completion. Right. So those are like the ultimate, I do not manage. I do not
Right.
manage projects. I do not manage people. Leave me the fuck alone.
So what I like about the working genius is those terms. You're not naturally gifted, you're naturally gifted. We can do it.
We can
But
still
this
do
is
it, yes, but we're
it's
not.
just
It's
not
not enough.
our right. It's just like working competency, the one in the middle, it's neutral energy. You're good at it, you're capable, but it doesn't burn energy, it doesn't give you energy.
That's a curious one for me, Andre, because like it says for me, I'm capable and I don't mind rallying people and inspiring them to take action around ideas, projects, or tasks. I thought that because I've had a lot of people say that, well, Eric, you're like a motivational speaker and you get up and you're getting people to change, like for the accountant success formula, changing the business model. But I find that the energy I've had, and you and I've shared a lot on this, is when I'm trying, if I feel like I'm constantly having to motivate others to into action, it draws a ton of energy from me. So I'm not interested in, like, if the person wants to change and I'm the right person for that change, man, we've got the energy, I've got the
That's
new
your one print.
idea, and let's go. Right.
That's your one print
Yeah.
that just spoke. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but if I have to motivate them and inspire them and rally them, I eventually I'm
Okay.
like, okay, that's enough.
So what did you say at the beginning? People say what about you?
They say that like I'm a motivation, like I'm a coach. I do
Okay.
a coach, like I'm a business coach. I'm a sports coach, like and a
But that's
leader.
your
I tend to be
relator
a
and your
leader.
achiever
Yeah.
strengths that they're seeing, right? You got to build close relationships. You connect, you relate to them so they feel inspired. And then your futuristic is I get you start thinking about this. When are you most motivating to others? When you're talking about future stuff?
Always, always, always.
So
Yeah,
that's
which
your
is funny
drive
as
by the
fuck because
future.
I studied it and became an accountant, and accountants are all about the past. And it was so
Correct.
frustrating for me because they're always talking about the past, and I'm like, I've had enough of that. Like, let's talk about the future.
So, in what I just heard from you is actually your Clifton strengths that people are seeing versus the working genius in this case.
Okay. Dude, there's so much. So I want to wrap this one up in a bow because literally we could spend hours and hours and hours going through all of these. You've got a very deep understanding of how all these work, and I really appreciate the fact that just because you have these certain assessments doesn't mean that that's naturally the way you want to do things. I see now why this working genius is good. These four assessments. So we've talked about the Colby, the Clifton strengths, the print, and the working genius. I see how all those really work together. But ultimately, for the listener out there, is like diving into you, figuring out you, I think is the ultimate joy and adventure because I keep finding out more things about myself and go, holy crap, right? And you naturally, Andre, you can see that in other people. And that's why I see that, you know, especially when you're in the impulsive thinker and you're bringing these ADHD entrepreneurs through your program, how you're going to be so powerful at helping them understand who they are so they can take their strengths and really maximize them on top of the depth of knowledge you have around the specific ADHD strength that you have, right?
Right. And my number 2 Clifton strength is uniqueness. So my drive is actually to find your uniqueness by using these tools.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Right.
Love that.
Now, I want to flip something at the end to think about. We have all these tools. We know how we should work, why, what, and I'm thinking of where for working genius, but I'm working on that one right now. But this could all be screwed to shit by when you're triggered outside of the why. So if you got some emotional dysregulation or past trauma that you're trying to deal with, like I see a lot of talented people all of a sudden just shoot down a bunch of ideas and behave a certain way because of some past trauma. And then that overshadows your talents and strengths because that's that protection mechanism your brain created many, many moons ago. So it's forcing you to maybe be compliant when you prefer to be more strong and self-reliant, just because of that programming from the past. And this is where I'm starting to see the nuances behind, because me and you, we've talked a lot about our past. We've working ourselves a lot about, like I'm doing a lot with internal family systems right now to start seeing, oh shit, that wasn't a natural talent. That was a protective mechanism by my brain.
Yes.
That's why, because I'm asking why. Why do they behave that way if I know they're Colby and other, that doesn't make sense, but there's just got to be something else. And that just adds another layer of it. So that's why these things are very, I find it, I get, because my one print, it's wrong if you're going to start making judgments and assessments of people's behavior by these as defining them. This is more about understanding.
And I think that's the key point is I want to leave the listener off with is our understanding who you are and exploring yourself and figuring out and exploring and discovering. I'm going to say figuring out, because figuring out sounds final, like as if you're finally going to figure yourself out. I think I can see this now. I'm never going to figure Eric out, but I'm going to be in a constant state of discovery. So it's that phrase from Krishnamurti, the mind that is constantly learning can never be hurt. If we're in a constant state of discovery, that's where the joy is. That's where the adventure is. And
I call that constant refinement.
Constant refinement. Yeah. This discovery, I think that's where the joy and the fun is. Interestingly enough, my perfect, correct, and right print always wants to find the answer, but it's actually in the it's in the seeking that ye shall find. It's the journey, not the destination. Even though you're trying to get to a destination, we're never going to get there to truly understand ourselves, but we're going to constantly uncover and discover more, right?
Yeah.
So, with so Colby, Clifton Strengths, print, Working Genius, all incredible insight tools to use. I'll probably have a bunch of these inside or clicks or links to them and some resources inside the Viking Academy membership site. So if you're not a member of the Viking Academy, go in there and join. It's free. All those resources are free. Anything else you want to add at the end of this there, Andre, before we kick off?
I don't know. If you want to take your first step, is do the Colby A, and then you add on one more as you start getting it. But honestly, this type of stuff, I love working with people who want to figure something out and to learn to discover. So I work with all these tools, and I love having conversations on how to understand your uniqueness, to take ownership of it, and then how to restructure how things are done around you and how you do things differently to stay within your wheelhouse.
How can people find you?
You can find me at theimpulsivethinker.com. You can contact me through there. You don't have to be ADHD if you want to understand all these parts of yourself. I like working with people who want to get shit done. And then you can follow the podcast, the Impulsive Thinker Podcast, where we talk about this type of stuff frequently in business and entrepreneurial life.
Yeah, you've had me
as
on
well as ADHD.
Times. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, man. All right, brother. Until next time, everyone, keep exploring.
Thanks for listening to the Viking Academy podcast. Make sure to leave us your honest feedback by leaving a review on Apple or Spotify, and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode.